The day I was kicked out of my adopted home by that wealthy family, the butler shoved me like a beggar and threw a 10,000 yuan bank card at my feet. Take 10,000, the price of your 18 years of youth, and go back to your poor village. Behind me, the Yu family's real sons and relatives were happily joking. They were all waiting to see how this fake son would wander the streets. But they had no idea that the moment the door closed, I was the very moment I caused a commotion in the Jiang family, the richest in Chengdu. The richest grandfather sat with tears in his eyes, brewing dragon preserve tea. At a single signal from the 6 powerful sisters, hundreds of limousines raced to the southern city, all to restore the status of their brother, lost for 18 years. And the most hilarious thing was that the medical institution the Yun family had been trying to please was on the verge of collapse at that very moment. All because I issued an extortion order on the dark web. The butler threw a 10,000 yuan card at my feet, saying, "Young Master Jiang, this is what sir you sent. That's all the compensation for 18 years of youth." I picked up my only black bag and didn't even look at the card. The butler's face immediately turned irritated. "Who is pretending? Without the Yun family, you're nothing but a poor villager." With that, he slammed the door shut. Sounds of laughter echoed from upstairs. They were all waiting to witness my wandering on the street. Meanwhile, the old Jiang Sir, known as the Dragon Elder, from Chengdu's wealthiest Jiang family, was lashing out at his 6 granddaughters. "It's been 18 years. There's still no news of your brother." The 6 overbearing sisters immediately bowed their heads, their eyes filled with guilt. Just then, a woman ran in, panting, her voice trembling. "Chairman Young Master has been found." Old Young Sahib suddenly stood up. His hands were shaking. "Where is he? Go and get him immediately." "He's in the southern city." A convoy of cars immediately set off, with great fanfare, towards the southern city. But they had no idea that I hadn't gone to the village they were thinking of, but had returned to my own home. A completely ordinary-looking old colony. As soon as I parked, the fruit vendor enthusiastically handed me an apple. "Xingxi has finally arrived. My old knee pain was waiting for you." The uncle playing chess next to me also came over. "Xingxi, my old hand tremor has returned." Who knew? These ordinary-looking uncles and aunts were actually such great men that a single stamp of their feet would shake the entire area. And I was the one they called Dr. Deradeka, Dr. Jiang. I said with a slight laugh, "Okay, tomorrow in the square, I'll give everyone acupuncture at once. Don't forget to soak the medicine bag, and yes, don't stay up all night fixing the needles." Uncle and auntie immediately become embarrassed. They repeatedly promise to be asleep by 10 o'clock. Just then, Colony Director Ho comes running in, a smile on his face. "Dr. Jiang, you're finally back. I've always had someone to keep an eye on your house. No one can come near." Director Ho says flatteringly, "Dr. Jiang, you won't leave this time, right?" I nod calmly, "I won't." Hearing this, he breathes a sigh of relief and leaves, thanking me repeatedly. I turn around and open the door with an old key. But behind the door, an LCD password lock suddenly appears. Do I need to turn on AR recognition? A cold electronic voice resounds. As the red light falls on my eyes, the iron door automatically opens. All the lights in the room immediately turn on. The 2-meter-high bookcase is filled with books on traditional Chinese medicine. A rare BMW motorcycle sits quietly in the middle of the living room. This is, in fact, my real home. I've just taken water from the fridge when the phone on the table rings. "Boss, get up. It's time to get the car. Chengdu's richest man is looking for his grandson in the southern city. He's a big order." Chengdu's richest man again. I laugh and say, "Not interested." "Oh, wait, there's another explosive news." The voice on the other end of the phone hurries. "The Yen family from 49 cities is looking for you. They're offering 10 million rupees worth of gold." 10 million, I'm interested. "Send the terms, I'll see." The next moment, the information flashes on the window pane. The Yen family is a 100-year-old traditional medicine dynasty. The third young mistress, who has been weak for years, is looking for a cure. The Caesar Hotel in the southern city has issued an open invitation. Interesting. I stretch my legs and say, "I'll take it on order." The next day, in the hot sun, I take a shared bicycle to avoid traffic. I'm clutching the oil stick Uncle Leon gave me. Half an hour later, a crowd of expensive cars is gathered in front of the Caesar Hotel. Meanwhile, my rickety bicycle looks incredibly out of place. The car hasn't even stopped when the security guard comes running. Go, go, go. Where has this poor student come from? This place is closed to the public today. I park the bicycle, keeping my eyes calm. I've come to save someone's life. The guard bursts out laughing. The guy who saved lives is young, but he boasts a lot. He looks at me with disdain and is about to continue his mocking. But I don't have time to argue. I simply say, please go inside and tell him that the divine hand has come on invitation. The guard pauses for a moment. Then he laughs. Divine hand, or God, I've seen so many invitations, but I've never seen anyone like you leave a shared bicycle. Get out of here. As soon as the conversation ends, an expensive car pulls up. The guard immediately puts on a flattering smile. I rush to open the door. Oh, you young master, you're here. The people in the carriage just nod coldly. But the guard beams, as if he's been granted a great favor. As the carriage passes me, the boy in the window seems to recognize me. His face hesitates for a moment. But I don't care. A regal smile twitches at the corner of my lips. I used to decide life and death with a single needle. Now, a security guard is barking at me like a dog. I pull out my phone. I'm about to refuse this family's order when I hear screams nearby. It's a shame, I said. A child has fainted. Without a second's thought, I abandon my bicycle and run toward the crowd. A little girl, about 3 or 4 years old, lies on the ground. Her face is pale and sweat is all over her body. A young woman in a white coat is holding her, but she's repeatedly waving her hand away. Auntie, the girl's family isn't here. I couldn't tolerate unnecessary interference. I simply pushed the crowd aside, my voice low but forceful. Everyone, make way. The patient needs air. My commanding presence immediately silenced the surroundings. I crouched down, my fingers reaching for the little girl's neck. An auntie couldn't help herself. She exclaimed, "Son, how old are you? Can you do it? Wait for the ambulance." Without raising my head, I quickly loosened the girl's frock and slid her into the shade. I said calmly, "Auntie, uncle, don't worry. I have a medical license." Saying this, I opened my bag. A folding medical box immediately opened. Inside, acupuncture needles and scalpels were arranged in a row, radiating a cool glow. I was about to pick up the needle when the boy in the white coat grabbed my hand. "How can you just inject a patient like that?" I ignored him. I continued to count the girl's pulse. But he didn't back down. "I'm a student at Jinghai University. Zhou Yuan, my guru, is a renowned physician. At your age, you have a medical license." He grew increasingly agitated. "Even aunts and uncles know to wait for 120. Don't you understand?" I looked at him coldly. I said in an icy tone. "Waiting for 120 just like that is delaying treatment. That's what your guru taught you. You're the one delaying treatment now." Yuan's face turned red with anger. "Stop this pseudoscientific traditional medicine nonsense of yours. Let me perform CPR." I gave him a cold glare. "She has hot tongue. How can you perform CPR? Do you even understand treatment? Who are you talking to? You don't understand." Yuan was completely enraged. "Do you even know who my guru is? I just returned from a foreign country with an award." I didn't have time to argue with him. "I'm not interested in knowing. Go away." The girl's lips were turning blue. It was clear she wasn't suffering from a heart condition. Zhou Yuan continued to argue. I said with a cold laugh, lips turned blue and heating illness too. The difference is that the pulse remains steady. The skin on the lips is dry and cracked. It's clear that this is due to prolonged exposure to a hot environment. You didn't even notice these basic symptoms and yet you claim to be a student at Jinghai University. People watching the spectacle nearby started talking. "Yes, friend, this Jinghai guy doesn't seem to be anything special either." The uncle standing nearby started praising me. "This guy turned out to be trustworthy. How adept he is at taking pulses." Zhou Yuan still spoke dismissively. "Even if she has a fever, I'm still telling her to move. I don't know why." Zhou Yuan crossed his arms, looking like a spectator. Okay, I'll move aside. I'll see how much you brag, you boy. If you fix her, I'll kneel down and call you my father." I curled my lips. "I'll wait to hear your father." As I said this, a flash of light flashed in my hand. The first needle landed right on the spot. The girl immediately stirred, as if she had regained consciousness. Yuan's eyes widened. "How is this possible?" The crowd erupted in a commotion. The girl regained consciousness with just one needle. Without changing my expression, I inserted the second needle. A slight blood was drawn from the puncture site. The next moment, the girl suddenly opened her eyes. Her black, shiny pupils stared straight at me. Everyone was astonished. This boy just pricked her with 2 needles, and she was cured. I pressed the needles, stopping the bleeding, and began to explain, "Uncle, this wasn't done for nothing. Drawing blood from this specific point reduces heat and awakens consciousness. Her illness was caused by heat. Acupuncture reduces high fevers." Zhao Yuan continued, still sarcastically. "You're speaking as if you're a real doctor. I think you brought this girl to this state. She hasn't said a word yet. An uncle couldn't tolerate it. The girl has regained consciousness. What side effects are you talking about? Is the girl avoiding apologizing?" Zhao Yuan's face changed. He started talking nonsense. "I understand you two are in cahoots. One puts on an act. The other gathers the crowd. Together, you cheat. I already knew there's no good among you traditional medicine practitioners." My eyes went cold. I was about to say something when the girl suddenly spoke, her voice clear and resonant. "Traditional medicine is the pride of our Chinese culture. Auntie shouldn't have left her studies incomplete. She should read more books in the future." Zhao Yuan froze. His face flushed as if he'd been slapped hard. Loud laughter erupted all around. "Hey, Jinghai University guy, did you hear where you were? Read more books." He was filled with shame and anger. He started swearing. "A bunch of paupers. I don't have time to argue with low-class people like you." I just glanced away. His lips went cold in my hand. His face went pale. But I was smiling. I calmly reminded him. "Are you forgetting something?" His eyes darted around. "What did you forget?" I gently tapped the phone. "Apologize," in a completely fearless tone. "Call me father." He resorted to excuses again. "Anyone can make a wrong diagnosis. Who will testify to what I said?" Then he started shouting even more shamelessly, pointing his finger at everyone. "You all don't even have enough to treat Guzer. I swear your entire life's worth to you, you bunch of wretches." Hearing this, I was completely enraged. I carelessly tossed a candy. "Go straight ahead." It hit Yuvan's knee. With a thud, both his knees went weak. He fell to his knees with a thud. His face twisted in intense pain. He tried to get up, but his body felt frozen. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. I stood in front of him, looking him up and down, my voice cold as ice. "You, a medical student, couldn't even do the basics of examining, questioning, and testing, and you've just made an arbitrary diagnosis. Being a doctor isn't about considering yourself superior to others, but about treating with a sense of saving lives. Your knowledge is weak, and so is your morals. I accept this kneeling today. Consider me cleaning the field on behalf of your teacher. Go away." Yuvan, filled with fear and anger, tried to get up, but couldn't move. He yelled at me, "What have you done to me? I'll call the police." As soon as he finished speaking, the uncle standing nearby became enraged. "Daughter, you got down on your knees yourself. We all saw it. Don't pretend." Another enthusiastic uncle shouted loudly. "Look, look. The student from Shanghai University turned out to be weak in his studies." He knelt down, apologizing. At this, Zhao Yuan's face turned as red as a pig's liver. He bowed his head as if he wanted to sink into the ground, but his gaze grew more and more venomous. I didn't have time to look at him again, but if it really happens again, I won't mind breaking his leg. The matter was resolved. Several aunts and uncles came to me, asking for my number. One uncle asked eagerly, "Son, your method of injecting is amazing. Is there a traditional doctor in the house?" I added them all by scanning their QR codes. "It's traditional medicine I learned from my grandmother. She's opened her own health center," I replied with a smile. Just then, the little girl who had been standing quietly nearby came running. Lifting her small face, she said with a sincere heart, "Brother, thank you for saving Xiaoxi. If it weren't for you, I would have died today." I bent down and looked at her. "Your name is Xiaoxi. Your family," she said, pointing to the hotel in the distance. "They're all inside." The crowd erupted in activity. Conversation erupted. "Everyone coming to Caesar Hotel today is a man of high standing. I heard there's even someone from a famous medical family. I'm not surprised to hear this. After all, this girl's watch alone is so expensive. So I'll explain it to her. Next time you go out, don't forget to take a bodyguard with you." I was about to close my medical box and leave when this little girl suddenly grabbed my head. I couldn't ride the bicycle anymore. I bent down and looked at her. She didn't say anything. She just held on to the corner of my cloak. I took one step, and she followed suit. This wasn't going to work. I had to stop. "I'll drop you home." She nodded immediately. Okay. I'll tell my family to thank Bia properly. I waved my hand away. There's no need to thank me. I don't ask children for treatment. Hearing this, she blinks and suddenly asks, so, Bia, do you have a girlfriend? I pause for a moment. No. She claps her hands. Excellent. So, I'll ask my third sister to offer herself to Bia, to repay this favor. My third sister may not talk much, but she's very beautiful, and many boys want to marry her. Watching her diligent marketing makes me laugh and cry at the same time. I have no intention of getting married right now. Hearing this, the little girl immediately bows her head sadly. But as soon as we reach the hotel gate, she's all fired up. Pulling my hand, she says, brother, first meet my third sister. You'll decide after you meet her. You'll definitely like her. I laugh at her behavior. You're putting so much effort into promoting your sister. Your sister knows, she mutters softly. She's always sick. Her family wants her to marry a good man quickly. Brother, your treatment is excellent. You're also handsome, so I should try for my third sister. Seeing her dry, pale lips, I buy a bottle, water, and a packet of biscuits and hand it to her. Speak softly, you're not completely well yet. This little girl can't open the bottle cap. Holding the bottle, she coos at me, brother, help me. Just then, a car stops on the side of the road. A woman in a formal suit quickly gets out and runs, grabbing Xiaoxi. Little lady, I've finally found you. It's good that nothing happened to you, Xiaoxi says, pointing to me. This brother just saved me. Assistant Su looks at me, then hands me a card. Thank you very much, Mr. Jiang. This is a thank you gift. You know my surname is Jiang, so that means you know me. I smile mockingly. This 1,000 words of yours don't sound like a thank you, but like a quick breakup. Saiyakshu's face changes for a moment. Mr. Jiang, you're misunderstanding. She quickly turns and tells Xiaoxi, Miss Boss has come to pick you up. He's in the car. You didn't even take your afternoon medicine. Hearing this, Xiaoxi immediately raises her head in surprise, as if she hadn't expected her third sister to come out. I follow her gaze. The window of the My Bag car parked in the distance is slightly lowered. The shadow of the person sitting inside is faintly visible. A fist rests near his lips, as if he's trying to suppress a cough. As a doctor, I'm extremely sensitive to the smell of medicine. As soon as the window opens, I smell a faint scent of medicine. He's been suffering from a long-term illness, and he's often afraid of light. Brother, please wait a little, don't go anywhere. With that, Xiaoxi quickly runs towards the car. I nod, but as soon as she leaves, I stand up straight away. I leave behind the scent of medicine, turning and walking away. I don't even intend to look back. Assistant Shu breathes a sigh of relief as she sees me leave. Perhaps she was afraid that I, the fake son the Yun family cast out, would go after their little mistress. The woman in the car caresses Xiaoxi's head and smiles, so this is the one who saved you. Xiaoxi turns around and sees that I'm gone. She immediately becomes anxious. Where did brother go? He promised to wait for me. Assistant Shu, you're the one who drove him away. Assistant Shu trembles with fear. She quickly explains. Miss, Yi Zhang's reputation isn't good. I was afraid he had some other motive for coming to you. He doesn't even recognize you. Xiaoxi flushes with the same emotion. It's your fault that I let you faint on the roadside. If it weren't for brother, I would have died long ago. Third sister, I found a brother-in-law with so much difficulty. Now it's all over. The woman in the car looks up. The driver is driving. A beautiful but sickly face appears in the rearview mirror. You don't need to worry about my wedding. Then she orders Assistant Su, because you know the person who saved Xiaoxi's life. Send some things first. In a few days, I'll personally take Xiaoxi to their house to visit. I had just bid farewell to the little girl. I was preparing to return home on my bicycle when suddenly a reproachful voice echoed near my ears. How are you here? I turned around. Oh wow, my adopted daughter. I should go to my mother. Zyro is staring at me sideways. Behind her, the adopted father, Yu Buchuan, a host of Zhou family relatives, and the newly returned biological son, Yu Qinglai, stand surrounding an elderly woman like the moon. Zyro immediately tries to hide me by the side. Afraid that the people behind her might see me, she says in a very low voice, Xingxi, we spoke clearly yesterday. You're not going to your real parents in the village. Why are you making a fuss here? Then she pulls out a card. I know you're used to a life of luxury. But we have no obligation to raise you. Take these 500 rupees and leave immediately. In her eyes, leaving the family like this means I've become a penniless poor man. Just then, the elderly woman suddenly asks, "Zyro, who is this?" "Come on," Zyro immediately smiles. "He's a distant relative. I found him by chance. He looked poor, so you're helping him a little. He's a good adoptive son." Father Yubuchuan comes over and explains in a pretentious tone. This child's condition isn't good either. He was speaking kind words, but it was clear in his eyes, "Why haven't you left yet?" She said, forcing the card into my hand. "Xingxi, take the money and leave. Today is Qinglai's day to learn medicine from her guru. Don't make a fuss here. Learn medicine from your guru." I didn't even have time to reply at first. But hearing those 4 words, the corners of my lips curled up automatically. They were thinking I'd take the money and leave. The next moment, I tossed the card right back. With great speed and precision, Jo screamed on the spot. "What are you doing? We're doing you a favor. You're being too overbearing." I said with a cold laugh, "You're doing me a favor. I'm not interested in watching your drama. You, sir, keep this little money for your job, madam. After all, it must take a lot of effort to go from a younger wife to a senior wife." Hearing this, everyone present turned pale. Even the elderly woman frowned. It was clear she had no idea. Just then, the real son, who was getting special attention, jumps in and tries to calm the situation. "Papa, Mummy, let's go inside and eat." My good adoptive father, Yun Buchum, is the ultimate show-off. He looks at me and scolds me in a pretentious tone. "You come from a humble background. You don't know how to talk. We won't argue with you." My adoptive mother, Ja, is staring at me. Tears seem to be welling up in her eyes. I let her stare. This makes her even angrier, almost jumping up. Immediately, Yun Qinglai starts his drama again. First, he calms Ja down. "Mom, don't get angry. There's no need to do all this to a stranger. Guzar is a reasonable man. They won't believe rumors." Then he turns to me, a look of complete sincerity on his face. "Brother, I apologize on my mother's behalf. If you don't want the money, don't come after us anymore. I'm afraid Mommy might insult you again." What a cunning boy, apologizing out loud, but secretly demeaning me. Poor men are always the majority, as he implied. The way people around me looked at me changed. They began to think he was a wonderful gentleman, and I was just a spectator looking for petty advantage. A very mean soul. But they didn't know that my true intentions had nothing to do with these spectacles. I looked directly at the elderly woman everyone was surrounding and asked, "Are you the one called the immortal doctor who cures every disease?" She haughtily replies, "Yes, I am." "Why?" I smile. "I'd like to give you some advice. It's a small thing to not recognize a person. But it's a big thing to not be able to properly train your disciple and allow him to mistreat people outside." I pause and point to a traffic signal in the distance. "Your disciple is still kneeling there. Would you like to go and see?" As soon as I finish speaking, a woman's sound of clearing her throat comes running in, frantic. Her voice was shaking. "Master, something's wrong. I don't know what's happened to the elder sister. She's kneeling on the street. No matter how hard I pull her, she won't get up." In an instant, the decency and dignity completely vanish from the elderly woman's face. Her face contorts as if she swallowed a fly. Her complexion changes. Finally, she walks away nonchalantly. Even as she leaves, she glares at me with a venomous gaze. A gaze so cold, as if she's harbored an old grudge. I laugh coldly to myself. How dare she, being related to the Zhao family, commit fraud on an order in my name? It seems it's time to replace my disciple. Zhao Gyro, coming from behind, notices that I've even offended Guzar. A smug smile spreads across her face. She thinks I'm completely ruined now. My sweet-tongued adopted mother, Zhao Gyro, thinks I've angered some influential person, and that I'll have to come to her crying and pleading. And when Buchu saw that there was no outsider around, he didn't even have time to pretend. He simply took off his mask and said, "From today on, consider that we never raised you. From now on, our paths are different. Our paths are different. It doesn't matter to me." But the Hao director who had come to pick me up on his small bike couldn't tolerate it. He stopped the car and said with a frown, "Hey, brother, how can you talk to me like that?" Hearing the youthful rant, the Hao director looked down at the director and his rickety electric bike and said with disdain, "This is your so-called influential person. He can't even afford a car. No wonder you look so small." He laughs. Is he here to threaten people by posing as a security guard? The HQ director almost laughs, furious. He's thinking I'm even worthy of being a security guard. He's not even worthy. If his son could handle even half my responsibilities, the security guard hears, immediately brimming with pride and pointing his finger at us. What are you looking at? This place isn't for the likes of you. Just then, the HQ director pulls out his ID card, which has 2 stars shining on it. The security guard's legs immediately start shaking. Really, sir, the HQ director says with a cold laugh, call your manager. I want to see how this big hotel treats guests. The security guard sits down on the ground. How could he have known that this man in a Chinese uniform on a broken bike would actually turn out to be such a high-ranking officer? He's even more surprised when the officer turns around and speaks to me, becoming incredibly polite. He even makes an IA gesture. The manager quickly pulls the security guard away. Just then, the director of ON asks me, Dr. Jiang, you also came to treat that little mistress, right? I nod. I had that intention before, but now I don't. The director of ON immediately continues, then let's go back. Uncle Liang and the others are waiting for you in the square. I hope they don't get sunstroke in this heat. He also tells me that some people from ON district recently came looking for me. A group of beautiful girls surrounded an elderly man. They looked very influential. They stopped them. Those deceitful adoptive parents of mine in ON district probably mentioned this too. Something stirs in my mind. Next time they come, let them in. Maybe they're my real parents, who I've never seen, who have come looking for me. I don't think much. I just bow my head and reply to a message. I tell the director of ON to hurry back, so that Uncle Liang and the others don't have to wait too long. Meanwhile, outside the colony, an elderly man's face was disfigured in a top-model business car. Wasn't it said he lived here? Then why is everyone saying there's no such person here? I was returning on my small electric bike. But I didn't know that the same top-model business car passed me. A subordinate in the car timidly reported, Master, news has come from Anha district that the Yu family gave the wrong information about their son. Maybe the young master is still in the Yu family, and the one being called Jiang Chairman Cun. That old man was actually my own grandfather who had been desperately searching for me. His body was already broken from remembering me. The doctor stood nearby, extremely worried, and said, Chairman Jiang, you have a lung infection. You need to be hospitalized immediately. But he refused to believe it. Finally, when he developed a high fever, the driver forcibly dragged him away. Thus, my own family and I passed by each other, completely unaware. On this side of me, as soon as I return to Aining Colony, neighbors surround me. Xingxi has finally arrived. Little Ho was telling me that some suspicious people were looking for you. I had an idea. It seems Ho Director is quite skilled at work. I was just thinking about this when Ho Director happily approaches me and says, Dr. Jiang, if you ever need anything in the future, please feel free to ask. I respond with an open heart. Ho Director, why such formality? Neighbors should help each other. This completely captivates Ho Director. He is convinced that I will definitely achieve greatness in the future, and that I am a world apart from the blind man I met at the hotel. Meanwhile, that man, Yuchen, receives a phone call. People have come from the Yuzheng district. They clearly want to meet that fake son. Yuchen says with a cold laugh, we're short on money. Trying to connect with our Yu family. What shamelessness. He casually orders, send someone and deal with it. Don't be too rude. I still have a party to celebrate with. He had no idea that the poor relatives he was talking about driving away were actually the very people he was willing to please. The person he always stood before with his eyes downcast, and this decision was going to be the biggest regret of his life. By evening, a long queue had formed in front of my pillow shop. I was so busy I didn't even have time to drink water. Just then, my phone started ringing loudly. I opened it and found a flood of messages. Boss, why did you refuse that on order? Boss, I already told my family you'd come. Boss, did something happen to you? I'm coming with a car. I simply replied in 4 words, I'm at the pillow shop. Someone named Lufiafai refused to give up. She kept following me on the screen, pleading. My gaze hardened for a moment. I typed a line and hung up. Lufei, you know my principle. I don't listen to stubborn people. I raised my head and looked at a distressed old man standing in front of me. Uncle, where's the problem? The old man was dressed casually. It was clear he wasn't from this colony. Oh, man, this arm just won't lift. I reached out and lightly patted his shoulder. I understood immediately. He had a cold. His bones had weakened a bit. He'd been strained from sleeping on the same side for so long. The old man immediately panicked. He's gone now. I smiled lightly. It's a minor problem. What need for surgery? No x-rays, no surgery. Give me your hand. The old man extended his arm with half-assed conviction. The next moment, I grabbed his arm and immediately applied firm pressure to his acupressure point and pulled it upward. A cracking sound came. Before the old man could understand, I smiled. Try again. The next moment, the old man's eyes widened. A look of disbelief appeared on his face. Oh, she's healed. She's really getting up. This wasn't unusual for the people in the colony. But the old man's eyes immediately filled with tears. He held my hand tightly. Thank you so much, doctor. Immediately, something he said made my gaze harden. I've been to so many big hospitals. Even the GU director said this arm wouldn't heal without surgery. My heart sank. GU director. The old man continued, there was no money at home. I was about to give up on treatment. It's good that I found you. He became so emotional that he almost fell to his knees before me. I quickly calmed him down, but then I heard a shocking figure. But Dr. GU said I had to have the operation. The cost was exorbitant. 10 million, 100 million. There was an immediate uproar. This is a waste. Is this Dr. GU robbing me? But he's the most prominent doctor in the southern city, isn't he? People go crazy for specialist appointments. I understood the whole thing. Again, the same GU family, mistaking poor people for fools, exacts arbitrary fees. 10 million for a simple bone problem. I was trying to reassure everyone with my words. God surely rewards those who truly wish well for humanity. But my heart was already on fire. Those who know me understand that the calmer I am, the more dangerous I am. It seems my temperament has become too soft, which is why some people have forgotten the status of Tienga. Without saying anything, I took the opportunity and opened my phone. I logged into the dark web of the medical world, unknown to outsiders. Here, I am known as the physician with the divine hand. I posted just one line from the account with the divine hand. From today on, Tienga will no longer provide any medical assistance to the GU family. Anyone who violates this, including medical prescriptions and Tianchico herbs, will be expelled from Taiyang forever. Just one line, a complete excommunication. The entire dark web exploded in an instant. Oh my god, how did the GU family offend the divine hand? How will the GU family survive in the medical world without Taiyang? All the big families immediately sprang into action. My inbox was flooded with messages, with Lu the younger mistress being the most impatient. The boss is very wise. This wealth has finally reached our Lu family. But none of this mattered to me. I simply hung up the phone, raised my head, and smiled gently at the next patient. What's your problem? Who would know that this doctor who has caused such a stir in the southern city is now sitting on the roadside, treating people for free, and on the other side, that old woman, whom people called Dr. GU, was currently sitting in a top-class hotel, enjoying the Yu family's flattery. She was strutting, oblivious to all that had just happened. Seeing the Yun family members busy serving me, all the anger from the insult I'd received seemed to subside. At the dining table, Yun Qinglai was almost on her knees, offering her tea. Teacher, please have some tea. The old woman's face lit up with satisfaction. I promised you right then and there, from today on, you're my disciple, Gumiko. I'll arrange for you to go to any hospital you want. But just at that moment, while the entire family was celebrating, the room door suddenly slammed open. A female assistant rushed in, panicked. Guzer squealed. The old woman's face instantly stiffened. But the visitor didn't have time to care. She simply handed the phone to her. Her voice trembled. Tian Gu has excommunicated the GU family. The old woman's face went completely white in an instant. The hot tea fell directly on Yun Qinglai. He snatches his phone and feels the world spin as he hears the expulsion order issued by my own hands. He lands on his chair with a thud. How is this possible? He starts yelling at the medical students like a madman. Who offended Tian Edge? And the funny thing is, even his beloved disciples didn't know what Tian Edge was. He didn't even remember how the GU family was able to dominate other major families without Tian Edge's medical assistance. He had no idea that the boy he thought was dead was actually the key to his GU family's downfall. This fool was still wondering if his dirty trick of defrauding the poor at the hospital had been discovered. Just then, Zhou Zyro, who seems clueless, steps forward to offer reassurance. GU, sir, it's just a small group. Don't worry. GU, the elderly woman thought to herself, how do you know the small group? You know, Tan Edge has been around for 100 years, it's been a special part of the Imperial Palace, and you're talking about the small group. But GU, the elderly woman, the old fox, stopped herself, agreeing with her and saying, you're right, it's just that today is Kurosi Day, and I've been a bit unlucky. I didn't even dare to tell you that the drug analysis that won the award abroad was actually provided by my Tiana Ige. Meanwhile, Gu, the elderly woman, was still showing the Yu family grand dreams. She deliberately changed the topic and said that they still lacked the herb Tianqiao, a medicine to treat these diseases. Yun Qinglai innocently blurted out, "Dad, I remember Grandma had a lot of traditional medicines and a medicine book." Gu, the elderly woman, feigned surprise. Yun Buchuan tried to evade the question. But the bush laughs. Where would that poor old woman get such valuable things? It must be some junk. Seeing the right opportunity, the old woman throws the bait. That invitation from the Yen family might not be everyone's cup of tea. Hearing the word Yen family, Zhou Zir immediately falls into the trap. "Gu, sir, we are one family now. We will definitely send you those herbs and that medicine book of Tianshi and Tianshi." Yubican also takes heart. "Okay. I'll send someone to the old mother tonight." What a wonderful drama of mother-son love. Stealing their own mother's things to please a stranger. The old woman laughs heartily. She makes a big promise. "Then take Qinglai with me. Maybe this little mistress will also catch her eye." Hearing this, Zhou Zir's face turns red with excitement. Yun Qinglai also seems lost in a dream. As if he's already seeing himself as the son-in-law of the biggest family in the 39 city. It's like daydreaming. At this moment, I was completely oblivious to everything. I'd just seen off my last patient. I told him, "Keep your salt in your food very low. And if anyone suggests surgery again, don't listen, don't listen." The old man thanks me with tears in his eyes. I'm about to pack up my shop when a woman in a formal suit, who's been standing nearby for a while, suddenly blocks my way. "Sir, seventh young master, I finally found you." Her voice was choked, her chest heaving with excitement. But no matter how hard I tried to recall, I couldn't recall anyone like that. I picked up my bag and said calmly, "You're introducing me to someone else." The woman's face immediately turned sad. Perhaps she saw that I had a medical background and that I didn't match the information they had, so she thought this was a situation that could catch anyone looking for a cure. I turned and started walking, but she blocked my path again. This time, she put it differently, "Brother, can you accompany me to the hospital?" Then, wiping her sweat, she began to explain quickly. "Our master suddenly developed a fever in the village. A whole day has passed. I took medicine, put him on a drip. Nothing has worked. The temperature isn't going down. I want you to go and see him." I was about to refuse. After all, there are much more skilled doctors at the hospital, and more importantly, I had to go to my grandmother's Ayurvedic clinic. The Yun family has thrown me out of the house. Grandmother wasn't aware of this yet. But then Manager Li, in a panic, blurted out, "Our master is admitted to the affiliated hospital of the Southern City Medical University, and he's being treated by the same Gu doctor. I'm afraid they might give him the wrong treatment." Gu doctor, the same name again. My steps stop. Now I have to go, but I calmly say in a formal tone, "I'll take a home visit. The doctor's fee is 1,000. I agree, yes, yes, yes. Manager Li nods vigorously. Her gaze was as if she were looking at a deity. For just 1,000, she felt a deep compassion for me. Immediately, Manager Li quickly escorts me to the side of the road. She respectfully opens the car door. "Come, sit." A business car worth over 3 million yuan. The number plate is 88888818. Such a thing is beyond the means of an ordinary manager. My heart immediately feels dizzy. I deliberately ask, changing my tone to a relaxed one. The sick man's surname is Jiang. Manager Li, who was about to get into the car, suddenly falters. She immediately breaks into a sweat. "How did you know this, little doctor?" She stammers. "Is this yours?" I curled my lips slightly with one hand. "Don't worry," Manager Li said with a fox-like sly smile. "I just guessed. I guessed otherwise." Manager Li breathed a sigh of relief and truly believed it. Perhaps he thought a mere colony doctor like me, without a degree, would never have any connection to Jingdu circles. There was no further conversation on the way. The car soon pulled into the hall of the medical university. Right in VIP Ward 601, the young old man had already begun to murmur with a high fever, repeating over and over, "Xiaoqi, where are you? Grandpa misses you so much." And the doctors who had come with the Jiang family were growing increasingly anxious. But the hospital authority said that the Dr. Gu, who had been called, was still on his way. Meanwhile, Gumiko, fidgeting on the phone, was fussing as he realized it was just a simple case that would require extra time. His face turned completely impassive. "Get registered first. He really thinks anyone can get treatment from me." He frowned until he learned that the patient was from Jingdu. Then he slowly agreed, understanding. Tell the family to wait. The Jiang family doctor was pacing restlessly outside the ward, pleading, when just as he was about to ask the family for help, a shocking scream came from inside the ward. Something bad has happened. The patient's heart and lung function are suddenly declining. Immediately, the male doctor and female nurse ran down the corridor, shouting, "Where is the patient's family? We need to operate. We need the family's signatures." I had just entered with Manager Lee when I saw this scene. Manager Lee's patience completely broke. He grabbed the pale Jiang family doctor's hand and asked, "What happened?" The doctor's eyes were red. His voice was trembling. "It seems the chairman will be difficult to save." Manager Lee immediately flew into a rage. "How is this possible? They said it was just a common cold." The Yang family doctor said, deeply disappointed. That was indeed the case at first. But Mr. Chairman already had a lung problem. This time, they'd been working tirelessly for days trying to find Xiaoqi young master. But Manager Lee had no time to dwell on these things. He yelled at the doctor. "Then treat him. Do you want Mr. Chairman to suffer at our hands?" But the doctor simply shook his head. There was no way out. The goo specialist hasn't arrived yet. I've never seen such a disease before. Mr. was there right then. I interrupted him directly. "I'll try," he said coldly. In an instant, everyone's eyes focused on me. The Jiang family doctor suddenly turned and looked at me, his face completely bewildered. Before Manager Lee could introduce himself, a shrill voice came from behind us. I turned and saw, oh, wow. It's the goo elderly woman. He's late. His face darkens as he sees me. "You're that greedy brat again. You didn't get your money and now you've come to the hospital to cheat." He yells at the doctor who comes running. "Who brought him here?" The doctor quickly explains that we're the patient's family. But hearing this, the old lady gets even more enraged. He thinks we're not someone he's not used to, waving his hand arrogantly. "Get everyone out first. I'm not used to anyone else being around." Manager Lee immediately becomes angry. "No, we have to stay here." But the old lady laughs coldly and says, "If this doesn't agree, then don't take my registration." He looks at me with disdain and says softly, "This brat of yours insulted me first. If this brat apologizes to me with his own mouth, I'm ready to see him immediately. Go to hell with your apology." Manager Lee is so enraged that his stomach trembles. He almost attacks when I reach out and stop him. Looking at the elderly Jiang, struggling between life and death inside the ward, I say in a calm voice, without any movement. "Stay calm. Saving human life is the most important thing. The rest will come later." Hearing this, Manager Lee stares at me with his red eyes, emphasizing each word. "I agree with you, and I urge you to bring him back from the jaws of death." The elderly woman looks at me with disdain. "You guys really believe that an inexperienced person can treat him? Oh my god, how uneducated you are." Even the female doctor on duty standing nearby has a look of doubt. She too doesn't believe me at all. The elderly man's illness is very complicated. He can do it. I don't have time to argue. I simply bow my head and gently turn my watch. Then, slowly raising my head, I recite a complete list of symptoms in a cool, clear voice. The patient started with deep, heavy breathing. A high fever that wouldn't subside. Then a provocative, dry cough, a hint of blood in her throat. By now, she'd probably lost her senses. As soon as I finished speaking, the doctor on duty suddenly widened in surprise. Because everything I said was absolutely correct. "You really understand medicine." Her voice was filled with surprise, but the elderly woman said with a cold laugh, "What understanding of medicine does he have? He must have heard the symptoms from a nurse." The nurse standing nearby immediately protested, "This sir has just arrived. We haven't even spoken to him yet." Hearing this, the elderly woman immediately seized on the issue and, in a pressured tone, said, "How old is he? He's treating people without a license." Without a word, I placed a certificate on the chair, clearly written Chief Physician. The sound was like a hard slap to the elderly woman's cheek. All the doctors and nurses present immediately understood. Being a chief physician at this age is considered equivalent to being a professor in the southern city. Now, who would dare say I'm not worthy? There was no expression on my beautiful face. I walked straight towards the elderly woman. I said just 2 words, "Move aside." The elderly woman's old face turned pale and pale. Still, she stared at the certificate, as if to see if it was a fake. And then I was called inside world with Manager Lee. As soon as I entered, I heard the elderly woman's shrill voice outside. "Turn on all the recording devices in the emergency room." If anything happens, our hospital won't be responsible. He was completely convinced that the elderly Menjiang's illness couldn't be cured. He was just waiting to see if I could kill the patient. I would be disgraced. But I didn't care about the spectacle outside. In the emergency room, I wore a medical mask and a gown. My movements were completely silent. I ordered a chest x-ray of the patient. Dr. Lin immediately moved on. I just took a look. Severe pneumonia with heart failure, she nodded. I opened my medical box and asked further. Please provide details of the patient's past illnesses and the medications he's been taking. Dr. Lin's face shifts in difficulty. He's 78 years old. He has heart disease, high blood pressure, and allergies to several medications. We can't boldly administer any medication. I listened, but didn't panic at all. Instead, I pulled back Elder Jiang's long sleeve. There really was something there. Dr. Lin's pupils dilated. I said this nonchalantly. But it was like an explosion in a calm lake. It's a tick bite. The elderly woman laughed coldly and said, he's from the village. Obviously, these insects have some sense. If you dare, try treating them with a scale. But I ignored her and pulled a row of silver needles straight from my box. In an instant, the gazes of all those who had just been expecting me faded. Disappointment and whispers began. You're thinking of injecting a needle into such a serious illness? You think it's child's play? Gu's old lady becomes even happier. Look, I told you he's just acting. Maybe his certificate is fake too. While everyone was making up stories, I raised my hand. The first needle landed exactly where it was. By Hui Shang Muchuang Xingling. Each time I inserted a needle, I kept saying a technique. The voice wasn't too loud, not too fast, not too slow. I checked the pulse with my left hand. I inserted the needle with my right. The movements flowed like water. The entire observation room fell silent in an instant. I could feel everyone's gaze change. This was a needle technique that couldn't be learned from books. Gu's old lady's face changed as well. He really knows how to insert needles, he muttered. How is that possible? But still, he refused to give up. Looking at the shocked looks of those around him, he said with a forced swagger. It's clearly a pretense. It's just a random act, what good will this do? The moment he finished speaking, the nurse's excited voice echoed from inside. The fever has subsided. The patient's fever has subsided. The temperature has dropped to 37.3. The patient's pupils have dilated. She's regaining consciousness. Her heartbeat is also completely stable. At this, the observation room erupts in commotion. Manager Li points a finger at the old woman's nose and says, see, she turned out 100 times better than some so-called experts. I can imagine how badly Gu's slapped face must be burning, and I was just calmly opening the wound and carefully removing the poison. Then I heard Elder Jiang muttering, Shao Qi, is this Shao Qi? I don't know where she got so much strength from. She suddenly grabbed my wrist. Meanwhile, in the hospital's VIP elevator, the hospital director and deputy director were trembling in fear before a woman. She was wearing simple but elegant clothes, the brand name of which was unrecognizable. Her face was pale, but there was a certain elegance about her. The threat in her eyes was so intense that it was difficult to breathe. The director, wiping away a cold sweat, reassured her in a trembling voice, Miss Yan, don't worry. The Gu doctor at our hospital is an expert. He's treating Jiang Elder. There won't be any problems at all. But she didn't know the Yan Miss he was talking about. Yan Rushi, the head of the Yan family in the southern city, whom no one dares to mess with. She wasn't even looking for the Gu doctor. Just then, a woman, twisting a rosary around her wrist, slightly lowered her eyelids, and her voice stammering, said, Miss Yan, I'm really not lying. Even if we get 800 courages, we wouldn't dare delay Jiang Elder's treatment. But the woman, named Yan Rushi, said nothing, standing silently, but her dominance was steadily increasing. The director's legs began to tremble. As the elevator doors open, she signals them to exit first. But as she stops outside the observation room, her eyes fall on the mustache. Her voice instantly turns ice cold. Wasn't it said that Dr. Gu is treating you? So who is this? I was removing the needle at that time. My movements were swift and precise. Yet, she can tell my age from my glazed eyes. The deputy director, drenched in sweat, can't utter a single word. The director immediately grabs the elderly woman standing next to him and asks, her voice trembling, Doctor, why weren't you inside? Who is this boy treating you? The elderly woman still tries to complain. Director Liu, that's what I was going to tell you. This Dr. Lin is very bold. He let a novice treat you without the family's signature. But the director has no desire to listen. He immediately shouts angrily, "I'm asking why you weren't inside." The elderly woman, with a careless frown, says, "There were no family signatures. Besides, this is just an ordinary patient. Why do I need to treat him myself?" That careless, contemptuous tone completely inflamed the director's anger. The ordinary patient, the director, went nearly mad. His blood boiled with rage. That ordinary patient is the Jiang family of Jingdu. "Mr. Jiang, Mr. Gucho, have you gone mad? The Jiang family of Jingdu. Mr. Jiang," these words exploded in the elderly woman's ears like a bomb. Darkness descended before her eyes. She sat upright on the ground. The director shouted angrily, "You were asked to treat such a powerful person, and you didn't even recognize the opportunity." The elderly woman seemed to be paralyzed. Her eyes remained fixed on me, standing in the emergency room. "You wasted such a good opportunity to an unknown young man." The more she thought about it, the more she became enraged. Finally, she suffered a stroke and collapsed unconscious. The nurses quickly take her out. There's chaos outside the emergency room, and I'm just wiping my hands with an alcohol-soaked cotton ball. From the very beginning, I felt someone watching me. Perhaps my gaze was too sharp. The woman raises her eyebrows and turns her head slightly. The next moment, our eyes meet in a strange way. I make eye contact. No one looks away. Wow. I've seen so many beautiful women in my life, but I've never seen such a beautiful face. That pale, sickly face, those deep, dark eyes. So brilliant yet delicate, just the way I like it. But the next moment, Manager Li, the one who had brought me in for treatment, runs respectfully in front of her. Through the glass, I can't hear clearly. I can only see Manager Li bowing his head and explaining something. Immediately afterward, the elegant woman looks at me again. In a cold tone, she says just 3 words, "Little doctor, I've just brought someone's fever down." I'll open the door and walk out. Ignoring her words, I explain directly to Dr. Lin standing next to me. "Monitor your temperature for the next 2 days. Do more physiotherapy. I'll write a prescription shortly. Prepare the medicine accordingly." I haven't even finished speaking when a group of doctors in white coats surround me. Everyone's eyes are aglow with curiosity. They anxiously ask, "Can this needle technique be learned? What's so difficult about it?" I lift my chin and say in a calm voice, "Yes, everyone, pick up your pens and take notes. I'll explain the important points twice. I don't feel like repeating them again and again." Her manner was so composed, as if I'd been teaching classes forever. Just then, the elegant woman standing outside the crowd looks on with interest. She even raises her hand, signaling Director Lu, who's about to say something, to be quiet. Her long fingers rest on her lips. Her voice is low, cold, but beautiful. "Don't disturb my class." Director Lu's face turns pale. The ruler of 39 cities, to whom even the entire southern city bows, sat down to listen to my traditional medicine and acupuncture class. I cleared my throat. I was about to remove the needle when I suddenly stopped. Glancing around, I realized I still lacked a living experiment. Everyone was astonished. Director Lu was about to step forward when my eyes crossed hers and landed on the stunning woman standing next to her. Yes, I was about to choose her. Amid the silent whispers that lingered in the cold air, I took long strides and stood directly in front of her. The air froze in an instant. The atmosphere was both intriguing and dangerous. My expression and hers were like a mischievous wanderer encountering a snow angel. The atmosphere was truly magnificent. As I approached, the coldness in her eyes deepened. So I stopped at a safe distance and removed my mask. With a slight laugh, I said, "You're the one with the family, Novana." Manager Li was just about to explain when the woman, with a slight cough, said in her deep, slightly intoxicating voice, Admit it, what nonsense is this?" I didn't have time to argue. I made a decision straight away. "Okay, no problem. Just go through the process on behalf of the patient's family." Manager Li was about to say something again when the woman interrupted him with a cold, "Okay." At this, not only Manager Li but also the bodyguards who had just arrived froze. What had they just heard? Their mistress, so refined that she washes her hands before even shaking her own grandfather, had allowed a stranger to approach her. It was absolutely unbelievable. I didn't care what they thought. I saw the woman lean forward slightly and come closer to me. The scent of sandalwood and medicine mingled. "How am I supposed to accompany you? Just stand there. Don't move." I lifted my eyelids and smiled, "Don't worry. It won't hurt." She was still coughing. Her face turned red from coughing. Seeing this, I felt a strange tenderness. So I gently placed my left hand on her arm. The next moment, the mild sweetness of the mint immediately soothed the itching in her throat. Her beautiful black eyes filled with surprise for a moment. She was about to say something when I interrupted her. It's herbal candy. You look so poor, and I'm giving you this simple candy for free. This was said so casually that Manager Lee immediately broke into a cold sweat. He gestured wildly at me, as if to say, "Sir, do you even know who she is? She's the queen of all 39 cities, and you're saying she's poor and simple." Director Lu nearly fainted, but that woman, Yi Luosher, simply continued to twirl her beads calmly. The tip of her tongue touched the candy. Manager Lee, frightened, quickly tried to control the situation. "The little doctor's tongue is a little simple, don't mind," he said. But then suddenly, Count Luosher burst into a soft laugh. A laugh so light, so soft, you're absolutely right. She sank for a moment, laughing. Yes, after all, those who look good also talk well. My heart filled with joy. Immediately, I turned and looked at the doctors. Everyone's here. Yes. Everyone's here. Their response was more disciplined than a classroom. The next moment, I raised my right hand and straightaway unbuttoned the first button of Yi Luosher's suit. Her eyebrows furrowed. The corners of her eyes lifted slightly, as if to say, "You didn't mention unbuttoning your clothes." I ignored her gaze and said, "Today, I'll also teach everyone a point that stops coughing." Saying this, my fingers rested on the back of her neck. My gaze instantly became cool and professional. I continued explaining the technique of silently inserting needles within a 1-inch radius, while simultaneously shifting my finger positions. From the back of the neck to behind the ears. As if this point controls heat release, today's patient's illness was in the lungs. There was a buildup of moisture and heat in the body. The Tathian Liang Jinfa technique could be used for this. The more deeply I explained, the brighter the doctor's eyes became. No one noticed that the person I was teaching by using a living example, Yan Laxi's eyes were beginning to change color. She could feel every touch, every inch, every millimeter of my fingers with such directness. I could feel her eyes fixed intently on my face, as if examining something. Even when my class ended, not a single red spot appeared on her body. Her gaze grew ever more intense, while the war doctors were still eager to learn more. Even Director Lu's eyes lit up, as if he discovered some extraordinary talent. But the very moment my fingers were removed, I saw Yi Laxi's throat twitch slightly, as if the itch in her throat had just worsened. It was a very effective, seductive gesture. Who in all 39 cities didn't know this great lady? This great lady had reached such a peak today. But right now, her collar was open, her hair slightly disheveled. Seeing this, Manager Lee, standing next to her, was startled. Her gaze on me was like never before. It had become dangerous, as if she was considering where to sell my body. Manager Lee clutched his head in pain. The ruined little doctor had torn the sky apart today. But I had no idea the gravity of the matter. I finished the blood test, picked up my bag, and prepared to leave. Just then, that bald Director Lu appeared in front of me, brimming with excitement. "Little Vaidyaji, would you be interested in joining our hospital? We can discuss the salary." I raised my head and looked at him. I flatly refused, saying, "No, I don't like getting up early. You can only see patients in the afternoon." Director Lu still didn't give in. But I remained completely unconcerned. I just twisted my lips and smiled. For me, medicine is just a shock, and anyway, Director Lu, you've probably forgotten. Her face filled with pain. "Have you ever forgotten?" I picked up my black bag and said, each word pressing against her heart. "I'm a student at a polytechnic college. That perpetually loss-making school, you were the one who opened it." Director Lu was completely stunned. She almost fainted. "How could you be a polytechnic student?" I answered calmly. "I'm preparing for the technical entrance exam this year." But her fists clench. It's clear that this isn't the issue, it's the fact that a polytechnic student received a chief physician's license that's startling her. Director Lu takes a deep breath, yet refuses to give up. "You really don't think I can give you full credits?" Hearing this, I smile mockingly. "Director, you probably don't know much about me. I usually come in late. I leave early. I've never cared about credits." Director Lu becomes genuinely sad for a moment. But then, standing behind me, Yi Luosher suddenly curls up the corners of her lips. That smile is no longer as cold and dangerous as ice. Instead, it's as soft as melting winter snow, dazzling the eyes. "I don't understand it. Is it so funny?" Her voice was filled with a smile. "You nearly gave Director Lu a heart attack. You're an amazing person." My gaze hardens. I grab her wrist again. This time, I'm dead serious. The air around me seems to freeze in an instant. I gaze into her deep eyes, slowly speaking each word. "You don't have many years left to live," she says. At this, the entire atmosphere falls silent. Yi Luosher stares at me silently. A glint of light flickers in her deep eyes. Her heartbeat seems to have calmed and become indifferent. The doctors standing nearby all turn their attention to her. The hospital director and deputy director immediately wave their hands away. Manager Lee's heart skips a beat. He immediately considers pulling me back. The elder lady's health is the family's greatest concern. They've come to Southern City solely because of a rumor. Just a rumor has brought the entire family here. This shows how serious her condition is. "Little doctor," she said, "you've really brought up the most inappropriate topic at the most inappropriate time." The family's bodyguard was standing nearby. It happened just as expected. Yantian, the bodyguard standing nearby, immediately exploded. "What nonsense are you talking about?" His massive figure surged toward me like a mountain, as if he would pick me up and throw me down in the next moment. But Yan Laxi extended his hand and gently stopped him. He coughed twice, his voice soft, but with a warning. Then Yan Tian even clenched his fists. There was clear anger in his eyes. It was as if he was cursing his mistress. I removed my hand from Nabja. I wasn't surprised at all. In my years of practicing medicine, I've seen such reactions many times. After all, no one likes to hear the word death. My principles are also very clear. If you don't believe me, I don't treat. I chose him because his fate was very special. He had a wonderful, yet deeply rooted illness. My guru had said that whenever you meet someone with extraordinary, yet fragile fate, you should definitely help. But when I saw the intense reaction of his family, I didn't want to force it. I was about to release my hand when this Lashi suddenly spoke. Her beautiful voice was always filled with a smile. But what she said surprised everyone. Does everyone's breath catch? She's able to live so peacefully despite knowing her short lifespan. Immediately, she looks at me. A bit of cunning and a bit of curiosity in her eyes. The little doctor chose me. This means you sensed my illness. Her ability to read my intentions so easily astonishes me. But I don't hide anything from her. She nods her head and says, your illness is in the bones, not the spleen. It seems like it was a birth defect, or perhaps there's some other reason. This is the first time I've seen such a case. I'll have to investigate further. As soon as I finished speaking, the bodyguard, Yan Tianan, immediately released his hand. He stared at me with utter surprise. It was clear. My guess was right. Their eldest mistress's illness was indeed a birth defect. This was the great king of the Yan family. No outsider could have known this. It was. Incheon immediately perks up. Elder Mistress Tianai Luosher calls out to him again. But this time, her deep voice was bone-chilling. Don't misbehave. Yet, risking punishment, Tianai musters up the courage to shout. Elder Mistress, he said, I didn't expect Luosher to laugh and continue my conversation, and you're tired too. I don't want to see you anymore. I look at him. The corners of my eyes soften slightly. Amusement flows again. It's so easy to talk to wise people. My fingers rest on his wrist again. I carefully check his pulse. Then I say, there's no need to rush your illness. This is a person even Yamarich wouldn't want to keep with him. That's why he's still alive, and more importantly, he trusts himself more than God. This is a rosary tied on his wrist. It looks like a protective shield. But it's actually filled with a sedative. I'm nearby. I can smell it. Rubbing my stiff neck, I feel my eyelids starting to drift shut. First, improve your sleep and diet. Eat well. Sleep well. It will be beneficial for your illness. Lin Lashi, noticing my tired eyes, says softly. Okay. The voice was so close that before I knew it, she had taken my bag from my hand. Tian, the little doctor, dropped me home. Her voice was soft but carried an authority that no one could deny. Intiania immediately bows her head and says, Sir, I never wanted to get too attached to anyone. I'll refuse immediately. There's no need. Where I need to go is right in front of the hospital. Manager Lee will drop me off. Manager Lee immediately says, Sir, I'll drop you off. I'm going. Don't worry. Lin Lashi gives a small nod. I don't want to get too attached to anyone. But Yan Tian still doesn't stop suggesting. Big lady, will you keep the younger doctor's number? Hearing this, Yan Lashi looks at me again. I, too, take out my phone and hand it to her. Enter your number. I'll contact you later to show you the old man's medical history. I'll also check on you. Just then, that plump Director Lu sneaks up on me. Standing on tiptoes, he tries to peek in. I immediately turn off the phone. What are you doing, Director Lu? She laughs embarrassedly. Hey, so you'll keep my number too. If you need anything at school, let me know. I won't refuse. I treat everyone equally. But as I approach the elevator, I still turn back and glance at the woman standing in the light. Even though she understands everything clearly, she neither curses fate nor blames anyone else. Despite possessing such profound understanding, she still manages to speak with a low demeanor. Despite battling illness for years, there wasn't a trace of sadness in her eyes. Yet, she looked incredibly beautiful. It would be a pity if Yama were to take such a person away. I was thinking all this when Manager Lee, standing next to me, suddenly spoke up. Little doctor, do you really want to treat that patient right now? I immediately understood the underlying meaning in her words. Wasn't she the daughter of the Jiang family? Manager Lee didn't have the courage to reveal Yilashi's true identity. She simply stammered out an explanation. Just consider her a distant relative. She's not surnamed Jiang. I bowed my head, chewing on the candy, and smiling, thinking that Manager Lee would probably stick to her guns until the end. She would say that the elderly gentleman inside wasn't surnamed Jiang. But Manager Lee immediately declared her loyalty, saying, I consider little Dr. Ji my own. My boss is indeed from the richest Jiang family in Jingdu. I say nonchalantly, tongue on the candy. Manager Lee, seeing my nonchalance, laughs in return. Younger doctor is truly amazing. Even after hearing this, there's no expression on her face. I pause and look at the distant street, saying, a subordinate should protect his boss's privacy. It's not your fault, leave it at that. I'll be on time tomorrow. But Manager Lee doesn't leave, instead asking, won't younger doctor ask why the Jiang family has come to Southern City? I say with a slight laugh. That's not something a doctor like me should ask. Hearing this, Manager Lee begins to respect me even more. She even says outright, younger doctor, if you don't mind, I want to make you my younger brother. When you come to Jingdu next, elder sister will take care of you. After all, going to Jingdu is inevitable because Tiange's roots are there. I like people like Manager Lee, who are neither in a hurry nor afraid, and who are also sensible. So, with a heartfelt smile, I say, so, from now on, I'll call you big sister. Manager Lee is overjoyed. She immediately replies, my name is Shooting, so from now on, I'll call you little brother. Perhaps she had no idea I'd say yes so quickly. But the next moment, her face suddenly turns serious. Little brother, as my big sister, I must tell you something. That person upstairs just now is of great status. If you treat him properly, your fortune will shine. But if you don't, you might face difficulties. Hearing this, I smile lightly. Don't worry, big sister. There's no disease I can't cure. Li Shooting's eyes flutter in surprise. So, you can really cure him? Absolutely. I say without hesitation, it'll just take some time. I don't know if big sister has heard that old saying, which makes her completely curious. Yama sends someone to death in the 3rd watch. But the divine hand saves them until the 5th watch. I don't tell him. I just say with a slight smile that those born with great luck often pass away early. That person's luck was very strong. His body couldn't bear it. That's why he's been suffering from illness for a long time. I know how to treat such illnesses best. Li Shooting listens with wide eyes in surprise. She murmurs softly, little brother, your words sound like those of fortune tellers sitting under a bridge. The smile in my eyes deepens. The corners of her eyes turn up slightly. Maybe I can really predict the future. Li Shooting doesn't believe it. She just takes it as a joke. As long as you know everything. It's fine. If you have any problems, tell your sister. I may only be the executive general manager, but I can help people with their affairs. I'm a little surprised to hear this. I had no idea he was the executive general manager. Judging by her demeanor, I thought she was going to do something simple. Then Li Shooting suddenly looks around. Lowering her voice, she says, little brother, there's one more thing I need your help with. The Jiang chairman has come to Southern City this time because his grandson, who was lost abroad, was caught by child traffickers. We found some clues before, but now there's no news again. You treat children. You know a lot of people. Can you help sister find him? My heart flutters. This is the same order I refused before. It seems I have a deep connection with the 7th young master of this Jiang family. So I nod and say, okay. Li Shooting breathes a sigh of relief. But then, Li Shooting's face slowly turns strange. She thought I would take her to some luxurious neighborhood nearby. But instead, I take her down a completely dark, narrow alley. The streetlights flicker. Li Shooting's eyebrows furrow further. Finally, I stop in front of an old, dilapidated traditional medicine clinic. Calling it a clinic might be an understatement. The sign near the door clearly read, foot massage 30, body massage 50, silk oil bags at a special discount. It clearly resembled a small massage center. Li Shooting looks at me, a look of pure surprise on her face. Little brother, I say, picking up my bag. This is my grandmother's house. Hearing this, Li Shooting becomes completely confused. Suddenly, it slips out of her mouth, hey, little brother, if you have any problems at home, my sister will get you a house. I immediately interrupt her. Big sister, you're overthinking. I'm not poor. But she doesn't believe it at all. She takes a deep breath, as if she's made up a story in her head. Your entire family lives in a place like this. Yet, you're not poor. No wonder you never go to class. You definitely want to earn more money for the family. I don't have time to explain. I'll let her think whatever she wants. Whatever elder sister says is right. Her gaze was like that of an idiot. She narrowed her eyes and advised me, sister tells you the Jiang family and that hospital owner both have a lot of money. You should fully recover your doctor's fees. Why only 1,000? Why ask for 10 million? That's too little. I nodded repeatedly. Yes, I know. She was right. If the treatment really needed to last long, I would definitely be ruined by the market. But Li Shooting continued to shake her head, as if she had high expectations of me that weren't being met. I'll definitely find a way for you. With that, she turned and walked away. Her expression suggested she was about to go and gather herbs for me. I twisted my face and smiled. I didn't stop her. It was now 10:30 at night. Grandma was probably asleep. I didn't feel right bringing anyone inside the house either. Thinking this, I reached out and opened the door. But the sight inside made my blood freeze. The entire room was in disarray. The medicine table was in the worst condition. It was clear someone had ruthlessly turned everything upside down. Herbs were scattered everywhere. The medicine cabinet had fallen over. The wooden footbath was lying upside down. Even the medical textbooks were torn so badly that their contents were torn apart.